Hey, welcome back to the Lead from the Heart Summit. Our next speaker is Bunny Love-Schock. She's a dear. She has more titles and credentials behind her than I could possibly read off here. So I'm going to save that for the show notes. You can find everything you need right there, but I would love to introduce her as she offers you her video today, which will be titled Walking Through the Portal of the Heart. Please take a listen. It's phenomenally beautiful. Just so touching. Enjoy.
Hey everybody, my name is Bunny Love-Schock. Yes, that's my actual name. I am so happy to be here as part of this Lead from the Heart Summit. Love is in my name and it's in everything that I do. And we're gonna share in some of that magic today. My background is wonderful and wild. I trained as a dancer and an actress. I raised a huge amount of money for culture. I worked as an executive producer across big brands, opening hotels all around the world, working with diamonds. I mean, they were Marilyn Monroe's best friend after all. And if she isn't an icon of love, I'm not sure who is. My work through the heart has taken me in all sorts of directions, including going into seminary to train and be ordained as an interfaith minister. So I'm Reverend Bunny Love-Schock. I mean, it's wild, right, that this gets to be life. What that means is that I tend to essentially everybody. I don't belong to a singular faith. I don't belong to a singular church other than love and other than perhaps the church, the temple of the heart or the temple of the rib cage, as I call it. And that's a little bit about what you and I are going to talk about today. Excuse me. We're going to have a little dive into what it means to lead from the heart. So before I really came into the heart, and before I also trained as a somatic coach to understand the nervous system and also to fully become acquainted with the wonderful, wonderful fact that we are all walking hearts because there is no part of us that is not touched by the heart. Isn't that wonderful? Because of the blood flow and because of what happens and how blood moves through the body, there's no part of us that isn't touched by blood. So therefore, you and I are all walking hearts. Now, taking this magic into account, before I really understood this, on a head level or a business level, I could feel it in my bones as a kid. I was a kid who was raised and born in Glasgow, in Scotland, who was really interested, very unusually, I think, in what united us as opposed to what divides us. I was so curious about why humans could possibly be at war with one another, even as a kid. And it's taken me all of my work and my body of work, i.e., this body of work and the body of work that I bring to the world. It's taken me most of my life, and I'm now in my mid 40s, to understand that actually we are all looking to heal the war in ourselves. So then there's nothing to be at war at outside of us either. What I coach on, what I create, what I support people with is this walking through the portal of the heart. And again, there's no part of us that isn't touched by the heart. And in those previous roles that I described, as a producer, as an actor, as somebody that was raising, hundreds of millions of dollars for culture and art, there was something missing for me in those spaces, in the way that a lot of people were running their business, or the way that CEOs were kind of not anticipating what the true needs of their employees or their teams might be. How entrepreneurs can often come out of working in corporate or go project to project, still existing as a freelancer, but they've never yet met with their heart or perhaps the heart of their business. And this is one of the other spaces that we're going to explore in our conversation today. You and your heart, you and your body, you and your nervous system have an infinite capacity to become a limitless receiver. Your nervous system, and I'm coming at this from a somatic science perspective, it will have limits. And I really hope that that might bring a wee bit of relief to you. It's not that we necessarily have upper limits or limiting beliefs. It is certainly not that if you are someone who is into manifestation, it is certainly not either that you have to be high vibe or tuned in or aligned or always working to kind of prove to this small universe or this smaller concept of God, as we've been taught in recent years, that you can prove yourself worthy and then you might be tested, right? Just before the miracle or just before the manifestation. And what I know to be true after 25 years of walking with over 100,000 women who have all come through either my online or in-person courses, in all of these expressions and experiences, the heart is present. The heart is present in all of those spaces. Love is present. And what you are dreaming of is also dreaming of you. And when you begin to give yourself a little bit of grace, when you let yourself off the manifestation hook, for example, and when you understand that you're not being tested, you're really not being tested, you know, that actually you don't have to be perfect, that you were born innately worthy, that you were also born the original blessing, that you have prosperity as a birthright. It is 100% your birthright. So, so important for you to know that. And if you could give yourself the grace of even considering that these things are true, then you become what I am, a liberated woman. Isn't that wonderful as well? A liberated woman where you get to experience yourself via embodiment. And again, that's the invitation to come into the heart, to hear your heart. Now, if you're someone who's never really thought about connecting with your heart as, say, a spiritual portal or a portal for manifestation or a portal for creativity and your imagination, then let this be an experience that we get to share together. So when you think about abundance, I want you to stop thinking about abundance. And I want you to feel abundance in your soma, which is the Greek word for body, which is where somatic coaching comes from. So feel, what does abundance feel like to you? For me, there's always this fuller inhale and exhale that happens. You might have noticed my eyes opened up a little bit more brightly. These days, I can't help but smile when I think about abundance. It's so exciting to me. You'll notice my body talk gets bigger and louder. My hands are coming into the conversation, and my posture is opening up because we really got to sit up for abundance, you know? We get to sit up for the heart. When we're slumping and slouching, all our energy chambers kind of get contracted. And that isn't what abundance wants for you. That's certainly not what love wants for you. And it isn't what the heart wants, because when you sit up straight, and I don't want to sound like your mama or a school teacher, I invite you in this experience that we're sharing to really just sit up a little bit more and notice what happens even as you do that. The collarbones move across the front of the body. The head automatically lifts. There's more breath and breathing room that becomes available. So important when we're moving from overwhelm to abundance, because by the way, they're kind of the same thing. Did you know that? It's a little bit like fear and excitement are the same thing. Fear is excitement without the breath. Overwhelm is a contracted sensation, and abundance is open. Consider this also as you're sitting up straighter, as you're sensing into, feeling into, connecting with what might be for the first time in your life the sensation of abundance, the sensation of meeting the heart, really the sensation of meeting love at an even deeper, more magical level. Consider again that the nervous system and you get to work together to prepare truly for a human experience of limitlessness. Limitlessness. Dysregulation and regulation are an enormous part of the beautiful human experience that we get to have. And a little bit like the spiritual world has said, You have to come into alignment. You're always in alignment, by the way. If nobody has ever said that to you before, I'm delighted to be the first person. You are always in alignment. You need do nothing. You don't need to be high vibe all the time. You can manifest from anywhere in your experience. The difference is actually having a relationship with your body. The difference is actually becoming an embodied heart. The difference is becoming embodied love. In this process that we're going through, sitting up a little bit more, paying attention, feeling into the body, noticing what the sensations are. And what's a sensation? This is a language that we don't speak very much. We're learning this language. Sensation might be fizzy, bubbly, contracted, expanded, tight. If you feel tight when you think about becoming a limitless receptor for abundance and prosperity and joy, we're embodying all of that so that you too are a liberated woman. You too are a liberated person. Instead of contracting away from the contraction or pulling away from it, go into it. Really go into it. Maybe your body is asking you to get into a really tight little ball. If something feels tight in you, go towards the tightness and tighten the muscle, the skeleton, the fascia, the body around it. Tighten, tighten. Give your body what it's asking for. Contraction. Perhaps it needs a contraction to come out the other side. And again, take that bigger inhale, bigger exhale. The body is a biological extravaganza. It is full of the most delectable and delicious information. And when you begin to be able to, as we're doing in this space today, when you begin to be able to come into a conversation with it, when you begin to trust your sensations, as opposed to making meaning from the head, because we are meaning making machines, my friend, and we are desperate to give everything a story. And when we come into sensation, we give our heads a break, we give our minds a break, we give our brains a break. The mind, the brain, the head, one part of an entire body. Every organ has information, every cell has information, especially the heart, especially the heart. And the heart and what you are dreaming are also dreaming of you. Your soul and what your soul is dreaming is also dreaming of you. What you are wanting in the world is also wanting you. And if I could leave you with anything in the time, that we have today, and I say leave you with anything, we will be spending a wee bit more time together. It's not over yet. I would tell you this. If you are someone who is seeking, and if you are someone who is looking outside of you, and society has encouraged that a lot, especially amongst women, if you are somebody who is seeking things outside of you and you can't find it anywhere, it's because you, my love, are a pioneer. You, sweet darling, are a change maker, and you are here to bring that thing into life. You are here to bring that thing into life. Allowing for that fuller inhale and that fuller exhale again. Isn't that amazing? Think now, as you have come into contact with this extraordinary heart summit, that in this, the thing that you've been looking for could be being reflected back at you, that the thing that you've been looking for is you. And you might be thinking, damn it, I've invested left, right, and center in all these different things, and they all have purpose, and they all have validity, and they all have power. And they all were from your heart. And in this experience that we're sharing, your heart is the best compass that you are ever going to have in your life. Your heart knows what direction to go next. Your invitation is to begin to spend a wee bit more time with it. Now, even in this conversation, even in this space, your heart might be feeling tender. You might be having an experience of an ache in your heart that you've maybe never met before. You've maybe never considered it before. You might be feeling that ache because finally your heart is being heard. Finally, your rib cage can create a little bit like a cat. We have a word in Scottish, in Old Scots, called coorie, which means to coorie in. It's to get in that wee nook just there, that wee nook, that wee nook. And the heart, when you get an ache or there's tenderness, remembering that we are attempting not to be meaning-making machines, the heart is often saying, hi, how are you? And if there is tenderness and there is achiness, a little bit like we did previously, if there was tightness, go into the ache, go into the tenderness, say hello to it, allow it to be there. There's a great desire amongst so many of us in the world to have it all. And my love, if you want to have it all, that includes that ache and that includes that tenderness too. It includes grief and it includes disappointment. It includes overwhelm and it includes transforming that overwhelm into a nervous system that is so in relationship with you and you are so in relationship with it that you don't worry about being calm to achieve your goals. You don't feel that you have to have everything sorted. You know you can be a human in a full human experience. Really, part angel, part human is what you are. The holy divine and the holy human exist in you. You are all of it. You are all of it. And the heart is a beautiful transformative map. So take the tools and the techniques that I've shared with you in this space. If you've enjoyed it, and I really hope you have, I would invite you to watch it not once, but at least thrice. Once for the head, once for the heart, and once for the hara, the center that exists just below the tummy button, sometimes known as the dungeon, or sometimes known as the creation space or the cauldron. And if, like me, you do believe in magic, then the cauldron is very, very satisfying. If you experience sensation, instead of thinking, oh, I have a headache or an ache here, can you describe that sensation? What is it? Spend a wee bit of time with it. And know that the heart, when the heart is open, there is really an experience of abundance in this life that just pays dividends over and over and over again. And what you're dreaming of is dreaming of you. And whatever you came seeking for, sweet new friend, I really hope you found it. Thank you so, so much for listening to this spoken love letter from me, Reverend Bunny Love-Schock, based in Scotland. And if you want to dive into any more of my magic, please just visit the website, which is loveschock.com. That's Loveschock. And I will see you very, very soon. But for the purposes of today, I'm sending you so many blessings. I'm sending you limitless abundance and the biggest heart hug that you could ever find. Take care.